Radio 106.2 FM.
Good afternoon. You are listening to Keep Women Talking, a programme from Peterborough Women's Aid. My name is Mandy. I'm your host of the day. That was a good start, wasn't it? I am your host for this afternoon, and I'm joined by my co-host Sue. Sue, how are you?
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. Slightly flustered, slightly tired. Driven down.
Sue's had a busy weekend. We're going to ask her all about it later. Okay, so we are going straight into it this afternoon. We do have our question of the week, which we will ask you now. And our question of the week, we're talking about health. So we're having a focus on cervical cancer for the first half of the show. But in the second half of the show, we are talking about healthy relationships. So the question of the week is, what do you like most about your partner? You can call us on 01733 602 133. You can text in on 074 119 1062 or comment on our Facebook, YouTube, X or Twitch. So, we are spending the first half looking and talking about cervical cancer. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of an introduction or an overview. Cervical cancer is a cancer that's found anywhere in the cervix, which is the opening between the vagina and the womb. And it's most common in women aged 30 and 35, but it can happen at any age. Globally, cervical cancer is the fourth most common cancer in women. 1 in 142 females in the UK will be diagnosed with cervical cancer in their lifetime. So some really kind of shocking stats there. You can reduce your risk by attending cervical cancer screening, and that's what we're here to talk about today. There's some targeted work that's happening in Cambridgeshire and Peterborough. So I'm absolutely delighted that we are joined by our local GP, Dr. Emma Tiffin, and she's going to talk to us about how she is trying to raise awareness of surgical screening, and she's going to answer some common questions, I suppose. Good afternoon, Dr. Tiffin. How are you?
Good morning. Yes, I'm very well. Thank you, Mandy.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And we're delighted that you can be here and we can talk about such an important issue, that affects women in Peterborough and Cambridgeshire. I've got some questions for you, if that's okay.
Yes, of course. And thank you very much for having me to raise awareness, because it's such an important area.
Okay, perfect. So I've done a little bit of an introduction and we've looked at some stats about cervical cancer. But I wanted to ask you, Dr. Tiffin, what is cervical screening and why is it important?
So cervical screening isn't a test for cancer itself, which I think sometimes is a bit of a myth. And the great thing about it is it's actually a test to prevent cancer, which of course we want to do. So we want to pick cancer up, or early changes, should I say, before they become cancer. And that's what cervical screening is all about. So it is free. It's a national screening program. So people are invited, ladies are invited to come and, when their smear is due. And what it does is it checks for a virus called human papilloma virus, or HPV. So hopefully a lot of your listeners will have heard of that. And also any changes associated in the cervix. So anything that might be abnormal, that might become cancer. So that is, what it is. And during the test, a small sample of cells is taken from the cervix and tested very quick. So it just takes usually less than 5 minutes, although of course the appointments are longer to allow for time for people to ask questions and make people comfortable before we do the test.
So thank you for that. That's really interesting, isn't it? And I think a lot of people fear going for a cervical screening because they think they're actually being tested, to see if they've got cancer. But what you're saying is this is purely preventative, and it just highlights any kind of changes that are happening to you. And it's all caused, I believe, and I probably can't say this, but by the human papillomavirus, HPV. For sure. Can you tell me a little bit about what is HPV?
Yeah, so HPV is a very common virus that, in fact, most of us have at some point during our lives, but we don't know it. So it's spread through close skin-to-skin contact during any type of sexual activity, and it can stay in the body for many years, although mostly it goes away on its own, actually, within 2 years maximum. So it lives on our skin. It's very easy to get and difficult to completely protect against. But as I say, if we can pick it up and we can check whether any of the cells are abnormal in the cervix, then we can, treat that to prevent any problems, with cancer of the cervix developing. So in fact, 99.8% of cervical cancer cases in this country are caused by HPV. So that's obviously a huge number.
Wow. So it's really just about checking if anything has changed, anything's abnormal, and getting in there quick, isn't it? Who is eligible for a cervical screening test?
So anyone who has a cervix, who's aged between 25 and 64, and is registered at a GP practice, will be invited to have cervical screening, and that's automatic, Mandy. So you'll be automatically invited and should receive your first invite a few months before you turn 25. So I do have a few of my patients come in asking, when they're a little bit younger. And it's a slight anomaly for us in that between 25 and 49 years old, you're invited for screening every 3 years, remembering it's more common in the younger age group, as you pointed out, Mandy. And between 50 to 64, you'd be invited for screening every 5 years. And I do say to older women, who sometimes, we do find that it's been missed. So for older ladies who haven't had a smear test at all, never had one, or not since the age of 50, then it's perfectly appropriate and the right thing to do, I think, to ask your GP for a test.
Okay, so that's brilliant. So this isn't about, I need to think about it and I need to book myself in. The GP will automatically invite you. So go on.
Yeah, no, it isn't the GP actually, Mandy. It's a national screening program. So it comes from a national database. But you can then, when you get the invite, you ring your GP up on the whole. I mean, there are some other places that do it, but generally it is at your GP surgery. And then, we'll organise an appointment. But what I would say, Mandy, that's so important is, if you've received an invite and then not responded to it, you can just ring. You can book an appointment at any time, even if your invite was sent weeks, months, years ago. And that's the key message, I suppose.
Okay, so you haven't missed out. If you've received a text or whatever and you haven't made the appointment, it's not you can make it at any time.
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. So I'm going along for my cervical screening. Who does it?
So mostly it's done at your GP surgery. So that's where most of our patients will say they want to go. And that's usually by a female nurse, sometimes a doctor. So sometimes I do a smear if somebody's due and, I'm seeing them for another problem, which is usually gynecological. In some areas, it can be done at a local health clinic or a walk-in centre. And you can always ask, if some people particularly want, as I say, it's almost invariably done by women, female staff, to be honest. But, you can request that just to make sure. And you can also request to bring a chaperone to your appointment. So I've got some of my patients who find it really difficult to be on their own, Mandy, so they bring a chaperone with them. And any concerns at all, we're very happy to talk to people about it. So, everything's a choice, but we can usually reassure and, we'll do our best to make people as less anxious as possible. Okay.
That's really good to hear. So I suppose this is quite a common question, isn't it? In terms of people are worried. Is it painful?
Yeah, so that is a common question. And the answer is generally not. It's rare that it's painful. Sometimes people have a little bit of discomfort, but we can usually make things, it's usually due to anxiety in my experience. So usually if we chat through the process, patients feel comfortable, we can advise on position, and obviously if there is discomfort, then we can stop, Mandy. So I always say to patients, don't feel, we can't stop if you need to. But generally speaking, most people don't have any discomfort or very little. And as I say, occasionally if that does happen, we can usually work around that.
They can help.
Definitely. I think, well, I know from my own experience when I've been and had my screening done, it's kind of been over and done with before I've even realised it's done. And I'm having a nice chat with the nurse about life and children and whatever. And she's like, "Oh, you're done. You can go now." I think, "Oh, well, that was fine, wasn't it?" You know.
And I've had
Yeah.
the same experience.
No, definitely. I mean, generally speaking, as you say, and we do try our best to put people at ease. There's certain things I think that make it easier too. You know, if you do wear, say a loose skirt, that means, all you've got to do is quickly remove your underwear,
Mm-hmm.
and that's, as I say, it's quick and easy to do, and then people aren't getting flustered. And we will, of course, respect people's dignity too, popping over a paper sheet or a towel to cover tummies and hips to, again, just make people feel less anxious, which leads things to be much more comfortable, along with the chat, as you say, Mandy.
Yeah.
So, we do our best.
So when I'm coming for my test, do I need to prepare in any way?
So, no, I mean, we would say don't book it 2 days before or after your period, because that can affect the cells or what we look at. So that's one bit of advice. And then I would say, to as I say, if you can wear clothing that's just loose, a skirt is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Just lift up. That for most people is, the most comfortable and the best option. So those things are all, they're useful.
Okay. Now I've got another interesting question for you, and I don't know the answer to this one, so I'm sure some of our people that are listening don't. Do you need to get screened if you haven't had sex?
So the answer is, I mean, we tend to say to people that actually it is best to get screened. I mean, HPV is passed through close skin-to-skin contact. So, it doesn't necessarily mean that people have to have had full sex. It can just be occasional and, as I say, not full sex. So that's why we sort of say to people, well, actually, it is better to get screened. But your chances are, your chances are obviously, low or much lower, if you've not had any kind of sex. So remember, back to although the figure is pretty much mostly associated with HPV, cervical cancer, sometimes, there is that very small chance that it isn't. So we would say to people that ideally, unless you've really got a reason not to, it is better to go and get screened anyway.
Okay, so the message is get screened regardless of kind of sexual activity. And so my next question links to this. Does cervical screening affect someone's virginity?
So people worry about this, particularly, certain, groups of patients do worry about this, but actually it doesn't. So, it's only having had sex that means someone isn't a virgin. And the procedure, the worry is about something called the hymen, which is a membrane that covers the cervix. But many ladies actually break their hymen anyway by things like riding a bike, taking part in sport or activities. So, back to the question, Maddie, it's absolutely only if you've had sex that you aren't a virgin anymore. So it doesn't affect it is the answer.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. So I know that in... where was it? Right, so 2008, girls in the UK started to get vaccinated, which was a really amazing step forward. So if you've had the HPV vaccine, do you still need to have cervical screening?
So you do, and that's because the HPV vaccine doesn't protect against all types of HPV, which can cause cervical cancer. So we would say to people that it's still recommended that people have their screening, even if they've had the vaccine. I mean, the vaccine has been a real success story, I have to say. So we see a lot less cervical cancer than we did. And of course, it was introduced for the girls in 2008, and now the boys in 2019. So it protects against other cancers as well of the genital area and actually of the oropharynx, so that's the throat area. So we would definitely say, though, that you should get your screening done anyway, even if you've had the vaccine.
Okay, brilliant. So I've come along, I've had my screening, it all went really well. I was fine, it was not relaxing, well, it might have been relaxing, get to lie down for 5 minutes, don't you? So I've done it. Now, what happens after my screening?
So after the screening, then it's extremely simple. So in fact, all that happens is that there's a letter sent out, usually comes out within 2 weeks. So it's pretty quick. A lot of our results and things aren't actually that quick, but usually within a couple of weeks, the results will be posted out to you, and that gives the result of the smear. Mostly it's negative, it's normal, but if it isn't, then the letter will explain if the HPV was found and what the results mean and what happens next. So again, reassuring, most people won't have the HPV, but if there is any problem, then the letter will tell you, and it will tell you the plan.
And does just a question that just popped up into my mind. So I've gone to have my screening. I've got a letter saying, they have found some HPV. That is, correct me if I'm wrong, but that doesn't mean that I have cancer, does it?
No, absolutely not. So it just means that you've got the virus. And then the cells will be looked at, and depending on what they show, so it's quite complicated. There's different types of cell changes. Then very often we will refer through to the gynecology clinic, what's called the colposcopy clinic, where they decide, what the treatment process is. But the letter will absolutely tell you, Mandy, give you the plan, give our patients the plan.
Okay.
You said that HPV really common. Do happen to catch because you've had
I don't know. Are you still there, Dr. Tiffin?
Yes, I'm still here. I can't hear. Sorry,
Oh,
there wasn't any.
I don't think she can hear you, Sue.
No.
I will share. So Sue was just asking that if you do get something in the post to say that the HPV virus has been found, we know it's really, really common, and basically not to panic, I suppose, and that it it can be sorted quite easily.
That's right, Mandy. So generally speaking, then we do refer through to the clinic, and they can just treat the abnormal cells. And that's the whole idea, because by treating them, it stops it developing into any kind of cancer. So, the letter, it does vary a little bit, so it's a bit technical, but, generally speaking, our patients do really well. And because it's picked up early, it's treatable, and it doesn't develop into anything worrying.
Okay, so my next question is, what if I have had my screening test abroad or privately?
So if you, in those circumstances, we ask people to let us know, to let the GP surgery know, and that allows us to put it on the records, so that then we know that there's been a smear done, and then we can put that into the recall system so that you would be invited again at the right time.
Okay, perfect. So even if you've had it abroad, you will still be invited to have it in this country. So my final question, Dr. Tiffin, is can you tell us where we can go?
Yes. So of course that's the biggest why I'm here, because we really, really want to encourage people to take up and go and get their smears done if they're due or overdue. So we've got some outreach clinics that are happening locally. So there's a range, and across Peterborough over the next month, there will be additional clinics in addition to your GP surgeries at Peterborough City Care Centre, at Manor Farm Community Centre in the British Legion in Yaxley, Honey Hill Family Hub in Paston, ARU in Peterborough, the University, and as I said, at your surgeries. And we've also got the health bus, which is going to be out and about, again offering people appointments. So in terms of booking, if you don't mind me telling people,
yes, sure.
There is a website to book. So that's www, and I'm sure hopefully you've got a website, you could put this on afterwards, but Greater Peterborough GPs.nhs.uk, and then that's /community-cervical-screening service hyphen, sorry, it isn't hyphen, it's, the / at the end. So sorry, that's a bit of a mouthful, Mandy, but hopefully we'll be able to ask you to put it on your website. We will do,
yes.
Or the easy bit for me is telephoning, so you can make an appointment. The lines are open Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and the number is 01733, Peterborough code 666670, and select option 1. So that's 01733 666670 and select option 1.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So the message from us, from you, is it is a choice, but please, please, please do go for your cervical screening test.
And if someone wanted further information, Dr. Tiffin, about anything that we've talked about, is there a website that they can go to, or would you recommend just contacting your GP surgery?
No, there's a good website. If you put in why we offer cervical screening and what to expect at your appointment, that tells you there's a good video there. And again, we can give you that for your website, Mandy, too. I often advise patients too, there's a good website called nhs.uk, that's www.nhs.uk, which has also got good information on it. But the video, is useful. And, we're I know the team are looking at launching the videos in various languages so that all our local communities can have easy access.
Brilliant. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Tiffin, for your time. And yeah, that's a message from us. Please go and get your cervical screening test.
Thank you very much, Mandy, for sparing us the time, and thank you to your listeners. And really hope, that as I say, some people will rock along and get their smears done, and that's great. We all about prevention.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that was Dr. Emma Tiffin talking about cervical screening and answering lots of questions that I had, Sue had, I think most women probably have about their cervical screening tests.
I think things have changed quite drastically as well. And I think they're a lot easier to get done these days. And I think it's something that we talk about. I know when we're in the office, we'll sometimes talk about them. And I think that helps ease people's minds that actually they are quite straightforward. They're not painful.
No.
Because if you haven't had one, or you haven't had one for a while, you can get quite anxious and concerned about
You can
them.
get quite anxious. And I think for me, it came with obviously having children where your bits and pieces are on show, aren't they, for everyone to see. And I remember going to one smear because I live in a village, so you know your nurses and all of that stuff. And she said, "Oh, we've got a lot of trainees. Do you mind if they pop in and have a look at what I'm doing?" It's like, no, more the merrier. Bring them in. But I think I don't find that. I don't find that I get anxious.
Because the earlier they can find these abnormal cells, the more they can do to treat it, and it's such a minor procedure at that point, rather than then getting into the realms of cancer further down the line. So it's so important, because the earlier, as we know, that you catch these things, that the treatment is so much easier.
Definitely. So that is our message today. Go and get your cervical screening done. And we mentioned loads of places in and around Peterborough. Up until the end of March, we have the health bus. I feel like I want to go on the health bus.
I've never heard of the health bus. I feel I need to go and find it.
I've seen the health bus, but I've never been on it. Quite like to go on it and see what's happening. But how convenient is that actually the services can come to you and you can be screened, really, really easily without having to go into the doctor's surgery or whatever. So it's an amazing project, and we really do want women to have their cervical screening tests. Okay, so at the beginning of the programme, I was talking to Sue, but I don't think anyone could hear her because I didn't have the mic turned on. So her mic is now on.
About me being flustered. It's obviously just one of those days.
It's one of those days. So we are going to be talking after the breaks. We'll do a break in a minute. We are going to be talking about healthy relationships, because we do a lot of the stuff we talk about is obviously we're a domestic abuse charity. A lot of stuff we talk about is quite heavy and quite negative, and we're definitely not those people. So we thought today we're going to talk a little bit about Ramadan and how it's a time for kind of reflection. And we thought it might be a really good opportunity to talk about healthy relationships. So our question today is, what do you like most about your partner? Sue, you've got 45 seconds to tell me what you like most about your partner.
So at the moment, we've both started going to the gym. And Saturday morning, before I disappeared on my travels, I was like, oh, I really need to go to the gym. And my husband was like, come on, let's go. If he wasn't there. So he's really geared me up at the moment and making sure that I go and do those gym sessions when I'm not feeling quite so enthusiastic as normal.
So he is literally your Mr. Motivator.
He is at the moment, yes.
Oh,
definitely.
nice. And you had a personal training session, didn't you? I'm so jealous. But we can't talk about it because we've only got 7 seconds left. Right, we're going to go to an ad break and then we will be back with you.
Craving top quality fried and grilled chicken without the high price tag? At Sam's, we make every bite unforgettable. From juicy chicken to mouth-watering burgers, taste why we're the best in town. Visit us at our brand new restaurant at 33 Westgate in the city centre or our second spot on Lincoln Road. Prefer delivery? We're on Just Eat, Uber Eats and Deliveroo. Sam's, serving up amazing chicken across the UK for over 30 years.
Satisfy your cravings at Ibrahimi Buffet Restaurant. Enjoy a tantalising variety of Chinese, Italian, Pakistani and comfort food favourites, from starters to desserts. Kids under 5 dine for free, so bring the whole family to our restaurant at 63 Sycamore Avenue. Open every day from 5pm to 10:30pm. Call us on 01733 313131 or book online to reserve your table. Ibrahimi-restaurant.co.uk. Every bite is a delight at Ibrahimi Buffet Restaurant.
At Master's Pharmacy, we put your health and convenience first. We offer free blood pressure checks and blister-packed medication. With our free same-day prescription delivery service, you can have your medication when you need it. We also offer travel vaccinations, including Hajj and Umrah, along with other services to meet all your pharmacy needs. For more information, contact Master's Pharmacy on 01733 567 208 or visit us at 303 Lincoln Road, PE1 2PH.
Attention foodies! Discover a world of flavours at Pack Foods, the largest ethnic supermarket in Peterborough. Shop our vast selection of authentic ingredients from around the globe, including spices, marinated fish and meats, and exotic fruits at incredibly low prices. And the best part? We offer free parking. No more hunting for a spot. Come visit us today and explore the incredible range of flavours at Pack Foods, 232 Lincoln Road. Whether you're eating in or ordering for collection or delivery, Big Mouth at 349 Lincoln Road in Peterborough is the place for all the family favourites you know and love. But now it's even better, as loaded fries, grilled and smashed burgers, peri-peri strips and wings have been added to Big Mouth's mouth-watering menu of pizzas, chicken and so much more. Call in today, order for delivery via Uber Eats or call 01733 201020. Big Mouth's open 11 till 2, 7 days a week.
Where can you get high quality and low prices? Amar Food Store and Halal Meat in Lincoln Road Triangle is the place to go. Pay us a visit and take advantage of our special offers and great range of products on groceries, vegetables, fruits and halal meat. Also send money to Pakistan absolutely free. We have all top brands at special offers, offer free customer parking and provide a free local delivery service. Amar Food Store and Halal Meat, 613B Lincoln Road, Peterborough. Call us on 01733 687 374. High in quality, low in prices.
Fancy the true taste of Middle East and Kurdish food? Asia Restaurant gives you the unique fusion of flavours from Turkey, Iraq, Syria and Iran. Eat in at 5 Fitzwilliam Street, Peterborough, PE1 2RU, or order through Just Eat or Uber Eats. There's 20% off throughout the rest of Ramadan if you order through our website, asiarestaurant.co.uk. Call us on 01733 562 530. Asia Restaurant, the true taste of the Middle East.
This is Salam Radio, Peterborough's Muslim community radio. Broadcasting on 106.2 FM and online.
Good afternoon. You are listening to Keep Women Talking, a show from Peterborough Women's Aid. My name's Mandy. I am your host, and I have Sue with her microphone on as my co-host. Hello, Sue.
Hello, Mandy. Everyone can hear me now.
Everyone can hear you now. Yay. So in the first half of the show, we talked about cervical screening, and really we are just... The message from us is to all women, if you're 25 years of age or older, please keep your cervical screening appointments. This is prevention. And
if you're overdue or you haven't been for a few years, just contact your GP surgery.
Just do it.
It's absolutely fine.
Yep. So that's the message from us today. So we are going to be talking about a few things today. We're going to be focusing on healthy relationships. And because of that, our question of the week is, what do you like most about your partner? So Sue's partner is Mr. Motivator.
He is at the moment, definitely.
Yeah.
So what about your partner, Mandy? What's the best thing about him?
Well, you know that they say the best way to a woman's heart is through her stomach. He's a really good cook.
I wish my husband could cook. What's the best thing he makes?
Honestly, if I was on death row, there would be 5 or 6 different dishes of his. So I've got sausage casserole and mash.
Oh, nice.
Hold on. Mash.
I remember this. Everything's going to have mash with it, isn't it?
It does, chicken curry and mash.
Mandy has an obsession with mashed potatoes.
Yeah, I do.
She has mash with everything.
Sweet potato and like prawny things.
With mash?
Not with mash, no. Jambalaya.
Oh, I like a good jambalaya.
I know. He's a really good cook. So I never cook, don't have to cook. And then I'll just be sitting there, he'll just present me with something most nights.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
I am very lucky.
You are very lucky.
I am very lucky. So let us know, what do you most like about your partner? Call us on 01733 602 133. Text us 074 119 1062, or comment on Facebook, YouTube, X or Twitch.
So, Mandy, let's talk about PWA. What's been happening the last couple of weeks?
Oh, we've been super busy. If people follow us on Facebook, you will see that we are getting all of our donation pots into businesses.
So these are the charity donation pots that people can put their loose change in.
Yes,
because we're visiting various different shops around the city.
Yeah, so we're trying to raise £50,000 because it's our 50th year. We've had some really good responses. If businesses take one of our pots, they can go on our socials. We can do a little video of them, try to encourage people to use their services. So that's really taken off. So you'll find on our Facebook, there's loads of pictures of people holding up pots, which is really, really good.
How do people go about getting one of those pots?
All they need to do is they can either go on a website and just fill in a form that's on the website, or the actual email address is sharon@wa-support.co.uk. But again, that's on our Facebook if anyone wants to do that. So we've been out and about doing that. We have also just got our posters ready for the Great Eastern Run.
Yeah, because even though that's October, by the time training and everything comes into place, it's not that far away, is it?
It's just around the corner. I did my first training TikTok yesterday, so I'm back in.
You've started your running?
So last year I did it, and I was doing a PWA training, sponsor me TikTok most weeks when I was running. So I did my first one yesterday. People have actually asked me for the link, the fundraising link, so I need to get that sorted.
And how was your run?
It was fine. It was a lovely day yesterday, wasn't it?
Well, I was at the other
you were
end
up
of the
north,
country, so I've got no idea.
No, it was lovely. I only did 3 miles, just jogged it. Hip's okay, so.
Oh yeah, because you injured your hip, didn't you? After the Great Eastern Run in October last year, yes. You ended up in quite a lot of pain, didn't you?
I did.
So you've had some treatment on it, some therapy on it.
And it's all healed near enough. I can still feel it, but it's not the end of the world. But we still don't know what I'm running as, do we?
No, we still haven't sorted out a costume for you. So you've agreed that you will dress up.
Yes.
Literally as anything. and you're open to suggestions. And we've had quite a few, but you've still not quite decided on the one, have you?
No, you want me to dress up as a blow-up dinosaur, don't you?
I don't know why, but yeah.
My kids want me to dress up as a Teletubby.
But I do think you need a full set of Teletubbies.
We do. If we're going to do it, we need a full set, and I don't know anyone else that would.
And I'm not.
You're not doing it, are you? Ugh. Oh, okay.
I could do the 5K, but the half marathon's a step too far for me.
So yeah, lots of stuff to do with fundraising. Basically, I also want to say a big thank you to Eagle Foods and Pack Foods in Peterborough, because they have given us some quite a lot of donations, and we have been able to take those out to our families in need for Ramadan. So,
and it makes such a huge difference. A lot of our families are really, really struggling, particularly if they've recently left their partner. They're still trying to get their finances into order. They've perhaps moved into a new property that has nothing. So those donations make a massive difference, don't they?
And we've just had a conversation here at Salam FM how they will be supporting us too. So really, really grateful for those kind donations. Today, I did an interview for Greatest Hits about the murder of Sarah Everard. So it's 4 years since she was killed. Yeah.
I can't believe it's 4 years.
I know. And they just wanted to get my kind of view on what has changed, I suppose, since her murder. Is there enough awareness about violence against women and girls? What do we need to be doing more of? And I think there are some really positive changes, because we've talked on the show before about there's new laws around stalking, there's new laws around spiking. Police want to get specialist workers in control rooms. So I think there are some things being done.
And I think it's also having shows like this as well, where we are discussing these difficult issues that have very often been taboo and have, never come over the doorstep, if you like. It's always been behind closed doors, never spoken about. So by having these conversations and opening it up, it raises that awareness all the time.
It does. And I think specifically, we've been doing a lot of work in schools, haven't we? And for me, children and young people are our future, which I think is a Michael Jackson song, isn't it? But in all seriousness, we've been working a lot in secondary schools, and some of the views, misogynistic views and views around gender stereotypes are really quite...
They're still there.
They're still there. Yeah, they're still there.
And I think it's something we spoke about a couple of weeks ago. We mentioned Andrew Tate and how a lot of these young boys were looking up to him because, he was living this lavish lifestyle. He had loads of money in the bank. But actually, when you take a step back and you look at the bigger picture, you realise what a bad role model he is.
Absolutely. So I think there's still a lot of work to do in our society generally. And I also talked a little bit about how men maybe need to challenge each other.
Yes.
Men and boys.
Something that we address within schools is about the young people challenging their friends and supporting their friends if they see their friend's partner, for example, behaving badly towards them and showing, these unhealthy behaviours. Yeah,
definitely. So that's what else? Oh, announcement. Drum roll time. So we have this fantastic group called Women Warriors on a Tuesday at our Women's Centre on Cromwell Road, and it's for all women. They can come in, they can enjoy a wellbeing activity, have a cup of tea, have a piece of cake. That group has been so successful that we are now running it on a Friday as well, starting this week.
Okay.
So we've got our Tuesday Women Warriors, and we're going to run it again on a Friday.
Is it exactly the same on a Friday? Similar sort of thing?
Well, we've called it Women Warriors with aprons.
Right.
Because there's going to be a little bit of a crafty element. Like arts and crafts. Yes. So people can kind of make things, take them home, or sometimes it's really good to have something to focus on while you're chatting and stuff like that.
And arts and crafts can be really therapeutic. It can give your mind something to focus on, take you off those day-to-day problems. And I think even if they don't necessarily want to join in the arts and crafts, they can still come along for a cup of tea, a chat, a space just to sit. Yeah. It's absolutely fine.
So really excited about that. We are launching that this week.
So I believe that's the same time, 10:30 until 12?
10:30 till 12.
And
so
you can just turn up.
You can just turn up, don't have to book, just knock on the door and in you come.
Brilliant.
So yeah, lots of things going on. And then kind of in terms of work-wise and our day-to-day work, we are, as always, extremely busy. We have a lot of women that are accessing our services and support. Sometimes feels a bit overwhelming, doesn't it, Sue, the numbers that we're seeing? But
it does. And the scary thing that we've talked about before is that in the last 50 years, the statistics haven't changed. Mm-hmm. And that's becoming really, really noticeable, that there's still lots and lots of women out there that are suffering at the hands of a perpetrator. Mm. And that's why services like ours still exist, so that we can support them and help them through.
Absolutely.
And whether they choose to stay in the home or to leave that relationship, we can be there to help them and to plan as safely as we possibly can those steps.
We can, and it's really brought it home to me this week, the work that we do, because a woman was killed in Huntingdon, and she was murdered by her partner. Mm. And this woman is kind of half known to me. I know her sister, and just having conversations on the phone with her sister, the pain that she is going through, knowing that she's lost her sister, but knowing in the way that she was killed, is just devastating for her and her mum. So when we talk about, I know sometimes our show's, lighthearted and whatever, but when you look at stuff like that, people are literally dying and being killed by perpetrators. This is really real stuff, isn't it? So
that's the thing, and this is what we've talked about before, is that it can start off very, very subtly within a relationship and build up and build up and build up. And there are so many barriers to leaving that you very often get stuck within that relationship. And people around you may not even be aware of what you're experiencing, which is why we encourage everyone to reach out to friends, to family, to services like ours.
Yeah.
Because it can make all the difference, and it can be the difference between life and death.
It can. Okay, so we are talking about healthy relationships, and because of this, we are asking you, what do you like most about your partner? Sue's partner motivates her to go to the gym. My partner gives me food. So call us on 01733 602 1333. Text 074 119 1062, or you can comment on our Facebook, YouTube, X or Twitch. Did you know, Sue, our last show had over 1,200 views on Facebook?
Wow.
I know. I thought we literally had 12 people that listened to us.
That's amazing.
I tell you what, it is amazing, because if we can get the messages out there, that's what this is all about, isn't it? Supporting women and keeping women talking about current issues.
And that's why we wanted to come on and do this radio show, so that people know that we're there to help them.
Yes. So before we talk about healthy relationships, I want to talk a little bit about Ramadan. We have lots of members of our staff who are observing Ramadan. But I'm wondering, Sue, does Ramadan have... let me put this into context. At other religious times of the calendar, we see fluctuation in the number of women that are coming to us. What are your thoughts about people coming to us in Ramadan? What have we experienced?
So I think during Ramadan, Christmas as well, perhaps Easter, those periods in people's household where families come together that are meant to be peaceful and all about family, we tend to see a drop in numbers of people contacting
us. And why?
Why
do you think that is?
And I think that's very often because the victims of domestic abuse want to keep that time peaceful, especially if they've got children. that, very often they'll think, okay, we'll just get through this. This is meant to be a peaceful time. It's meant to be harmonious. Let's get through this period, and I'll do what I need to do at this point.
Okay.
And then it's normally after those periods of, for whatever reason, Christmas, Ramadan, Easter, where we tend to see our numbers then go up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
so I
the
think
celebration has finished.
Yeah. So I think the message that we're giving people is that yes, we do have members of staff observing Ramadan. We are supporting them, but we are still open. We are open as normal. Our specialist services, the Dahlia Project, where our staff speak multiple languages, are from the South Asian community and culture. We are still there. We are still ready to support you if you need that support. And yeah, I agree. I think that we probably will see a lot of referrals coming through at the end of Ramadan, I think after Eid.
Yeah. And I think because it can be quite a stressful time as well, particularly during Ramadan when you've obviously got so many hours of fasting, the tiredness kicks in. The effects of that fasting can affect your brain function. I can't even begin to imagine, the impact that must have on if you're in an abusive relationship.
Yeah, definitely.
The additional stress that can cause within the household.
Yeah. So we will be talking about Ramadan as we go through this next month, and we will be sharing what we're doing for Eid. It's very exciting.
I know.
Yes.
I love a good celebration.
Yeah, I do. Okay, so we've talked so much. We haven't got long left of the show.
It's all good.
It's all good. But we are going to talk today because we want some positivity, because we are in Ramadan. It is a time of peace and reflection. So let's think of some healthy stuff. So let's look at healthy relationships. Sue, what do you think? Give me some factors that make up a healthy relationship.
Good communication. I think that's one of the most important things. If you stop talking to your partner, everything else starts to sort of crumble around it. And that's why it's really important that you share your thoughts, your feelings, what's going on for you, and then they can be there to help you, to support you, to laugh about things with you. Mm-hmm. It all helps.
I think that someone said to me, I can't remember who this was when I was training in the probation service. We were doing work about good communication, and they said the key to good communication is not talking, it's being able to listen.
That's a very good point.
I
think life is so busy as well. Modern life is so busy that we all get absorbed in taking care of the home, taking care of the children, going to work, and all doing our own thing, that sometimes we forget to actually stop and think and have that conversation.
So here's one for you. What's your thoughts about communication via text or WhatsApp and stuff like that? Because this goes on in my house a little bit, that mainly with the kids, if they've got their headphones on, I will text them to say, come downstairs for dinner, because
hear a word you say,
and I can't be bothered to walk up the stairs, so I just text them saying,
you're probably in the middle of something,
saying, come down and have your dinner. But what about
and it does work to a point.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it has its limitations.
Yes,
nothing can beat that face to face, because I think through a text message, for example, you don't get the body language that comes with it. You don't get the tone that comes with it. And they can be so easily misinterpreted.
Yes, they can.
It can be very dangerous.
Yeah, definitely. But there's no harm in the odd text message to your partner saying, love you.
No.
That would put a smile on someone's face, wouldn't it? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, give me some other factors.
Let's talk about having some fun.
Oh, I love having fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Life can be very serious. Everyone's job is normally very serious, unless you happen to be a clown in a circus, I suppose.
Or a comedian.
The majority of jobs are very serious, and you have to do what you have to do. Thrown you completely now, haven't I?
Yeah, that made me laugh. Unless you're a clown.
So, being able to have some fun, doing things that you enjoy doing together
Now,
makes a massive difference.
People's interpretation of fun is different. And actually, within my relationship, my interpretation of fun compared to my partner's is completely different. So fun for me would be, let's go on like a 10-mile hike and maybe stop off and have some lunch at a pub, and then let's do another 5 mile. For me, that's fun.
Yes.
For him, fun, an activity together would be, let's go and watch Peterborough United. I mean, I don't mind that, it's fine.
Yeah.
But we're quite opposites with our definition of fun.
Yeah.
So
it's finding those mutual interests
It is.
and the compromise.
It's the compromise, isn't it? You walk 10 miles with me and make my dinner.
And then we can sit and watch the football.
But I also think it's important that you have fun separately as well, isn't it? Yeah. Because a relationship can't, well, in my view, is the two of you, but you also need other people.
Yes.
Like, I've got some really close friends, like if I've had an argument with my partner, I can go and sound off to them and they'll calm me down or whatever. Yeah.
Arguments are perfectly normal within a relationship. You can't live with someone or be with someone for extended periods of time without having disagreements.
Yeah.
It's about how you manage those disagreements that's important.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, like you say, it may well be that you go off and sound off to your friend because they've annoyed you like there's no tomorrow. But then it's how you resolve those disagreements, and you come back and you compromise, you have the conversation, you communicate, like we spoke about earlier, and you find a way to move forward.
Yeah.
And if you can't find a way to move forward, and you either agree to disagree, or that's the end.
And I think that's really important, the whole agree to disagree stuff, isn't it? Because I have to do that quite a lot at home. And the thing is, I don't mind doing it because I'm quite, what's the word? Like, I won't move from things. Stubborn, yep, that's the word. I'm quite stubborn. So once I have a view, an idea, I'm not really changing it. And my partner's pretty much the same. So a lot of the time we just have to say, let's agree to disagree, but more importantly, let's also draw a line under it.
Yes.
Let's not keep going on about
That's
this.
it. Let's not keep going back over it.
Yeah. Okay. So, what else should we talk about?
So, within a healthy relationship, it should be mutually respectful.
Okay.
And it should be equal. So I think it's about respecting that other person has different views, that they don't have to agree with you all the time, that you can have those conversations where you can both express your differing opinions and your points of view. And you respect that and you appreciate that and you understand that they may not feel the same way that you do. And that's okay.
That's really important, that respect thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Having respect for each other, respect for each other's things like respect for each other's personal space as well.
Yes.
Because I don't know about you, but like my phone is my phone.
Yes.
So my partner will go on my phone if it rings and it comes up on my watch, it's somebody. Well, can you answer that for me? Or if I'm showing him something on my phone, or
and that's
read this
absolutely
message,
fine.
look at that photo, whatever. But he wouldn't dream of, and I wouldn't dream of ever going through his phone or checking his messages or.
I'm exactly the same. My husband doesn't know my PIN number.
No.
He has no access to my phone. He doesn't need to.
Yeah.
He trusts and respects me. That is my personal communication device.
And that's about having that respect, isn't it?
And trust.
Respect and trust. Tell me more about trust.
Trust within a relationship. So I think without trust, everything else becomes very, very hard. You've got to trust that person is with you for you, and loves you for you regardless, and that they're 100% committed to that relationship.
Okay. Now, how long does that take?
A long time. A long, long time. That doesn't come within a few days or even a couple of weeks. It comes over months and sometimes years.
Yeah. And you will find that maybe if people have been hurt in a previous relationship, that trust element is really difficult in a new relationship, isn't it?
Yeah, and it can make someone really untrusting of someone else, and takes a long time for them to believe what that other person's saying.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely.
So,
and I think what you came back to earlier is about listening.
Yes.
Listening to the other person, listening to their thoughts, their feelings, their views, and understanding that other person's thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, and where they're coming from generally, isn't it?
Definitely.
Okay, so we've talked a little bit about healthy relationships. I think we might carry this on maybe next time and go a little bit deeper into maybe look at some of the stuff we do in schools around language and how we speak to people and all of that stuff. That would be really interesting. So today we have been talking to Dr. Emma Tiffin about cervical screening, and we're coming to the end of the show, but Sue and I just want to say to any woman that is listening, please do go and get your cervical screening test. It's really, really important for you to do that and to stay healthy. Thank you so much to